How do you feel about resting? Do you let yourself rest fully? Or do you always have that voice in your head telling you about all the things that you need to do? Why is deep rest so difficult for women? In this episode, I talk about going away to a Greek island to rest, but not being fully able to, and the things that I learned about resting on this trip. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's 5:30 a.m. and I'm sitting on a house in the hills of Corfu, a Greek island dotting the Ionian Sea. The church towers are right in front of me. There's a little red light twinkling from one of its windows, a light that stays on all night. Perhaps to guide the devout in the darkness? I don't know. Dawn hasn't broken yet, but there's a tiny hint of it in the sky. A dark purple flush that turns more and more pink. The little village is asleep. The trees on top of the hills, just shady silhouettes against the dark sky. I can just about make out the lights in the next village. They are twinkling over the hills. The cicadas are singing as they do each night until dawn. A cockerel crows in the distance, its voice muffled by the hills. It's warm and windy this early morning, which makes the dark clouds move fast, chasing the night away. I love watching the pink flush spread against the sky, slowly, gradually easing out the darkness. This morning, like every other morning since I got here, I sit at a little table on the veranda, overlooking the village square, the church towers, the distant trees and hills. I drink my Yorkshire tea that I packed in my hand luggage for this trip. I eat my little biscuits that I need with my tea. I've taken this 2-week break in Corfu because I was utterly exhausted by life and work. I wanted to give myself space to just be, to breathe the warm sea air, to enjoy writing again. I've done all of those things. I have allowed myself to rest, really rest. And that is such a hard thing for me and for practically every woman that I know. As I watch the night turn to day at this magical hour on this island, I start to think, why is deep rest so difficult for women? Most evenings during my time here, I've gone for a walk in this tiny Greek village. I choose a time when the sun loses its ferocious heat. But even at 6:30 p.m. as I walk, the sweat drips down my back. But I find sweat detoxifying, purifying almost, like it's pushing out everything from my body that I don't need. As I walk, I see the people of this village that I'm in really resting, just being. They sit on their verandas. Their eyes aren't glued to their phones. In fact, I don't see any phones on them. They're not mindlessly scrolling social media. They're not chasing endless to-do lists while being caffeinated up to the eyeballs. Instead, they are simply living life. They're eating on their balconies with their families. I see plates of Greek salad, the feta glistening with herbs, the tomatoes plucked from their gardens, lush with olive oil poured on it. I see them drinking mountain tea together. And most importantly, I see them connecting with each other. There is laughter. There is conversation. They look at me as I walk past. I must be a curious sight. A dark-skinned Indian woman in an island full of white people, wearing a hat, sunglasses, and trainers, trudging up their hills. But their eyes are friendly. We wave to each other. We say yassus, the Greek hello. My Greek doesn't extend beyond that, and they don't speak English. But that is enough. We have noticed and acknowledged each other. The village goes to sleep early. Everyone and everything is totally still long before midnight. And no one seems to be up at the crack of dawn either. In this place, they obviously know how to rest. I'm not saying that we should all give up our busy lives, our devices, and move to tiny Greek islands. But I'm saying that we have lost the essential art of just resting. And when I say we, that includes me too. I've spent a lot of the last week lying on a hammock in an old olive press that's now a meditation space. It's my favorite part of this house that I'm staying in. I've been reading, resting, napping, just being. But I noticed that even in those moments of rest, there's always that niggling voice saying, "You haven't written much these past few days. That book isn't going to write itself, you know. Hey, you've not done as much social media this week. What will your followers think? Oh, and those emails. What about those emails you haven't replied to? What if you lose that work? What if you lose everything that you've created so far?" I've had to still that voice a lot this week and say to myself, my work is my purpose. It is not going to disappear overnight. But here's the thing. The world we live in is dominated by masculine energy, which is not a bad thing. It is masculine energy that drives us to get stuff done. But sadly, because the world is so skewed towards the masculine, towards the doing, we've all been taught to ignore the feminine. What do I mean by that? Feminine traits like intuition, wisdom, receiving, and resting, deep resting. Those have very little value in our modern world. If you don't believe me, try telling your boss next week about that great idea you had for the team based purely on your intuition. The response will show you how ignored and even despised our female intuition is in the world of work. Anyway, back to deep rest. Rest actually gives us the opportunity to recharge ourselves. Rest isn't laziness. Rest isn't an unwillingness to work. Rest is, in fact, the most powerful gift we can give to ourselves as women. Rest allows us to go deeper into our innate wisdom, showing us things that we can't see or hear when we're running ourselves to the ground, driven by adrenaline. We can't be our most powerful feminine selves when we are comparing ourselves to other women on social media. We can't tap into the incredible power that we all carry within us when our days are a never-ending treadmill packed with morning workouts, overwork, endless social events, doom-scrolling social media at midnight, trying to sleep, but finding that our bodies are too wired to relax. So, what is the solution? Well, I haven't got the answer, but I have some thoughts. Perhaps it's forcing ourselves to abandon our phones on holiday. Perhaps it's putting that out of office on. I know that's particularly tough for solopreneurs like me and many of you who single-handedly run their own businesses. It's tough, but maybe it's necessary. I didn't allow myself to fully rest during this break either, because I wrote this impassioned article that I published about the lack of opportunities for women in podcasting. Then I got involved in a horrible online argument. So on a day when I should have been resting, eating fish, and swimming in the warm sea, I was obsessively replying to my social media comments. My lesson from all of this is maybe on my next break, I actually take a full break. Maybe even, shock horror, switch off from social media instead of feeling that I need to work and write these thoughtful posts about my holiday and what it has taught me. I do see the irony of this, writing about relaxing and resting while not being able to fully rest or relax. So clearly, I haven't totally cracked resting. But I am learning. The church bells toll, a loud ding, 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 echoing across the sleepy village. These bells will ring on the hour, every hour until later tonight. I like the sound of them because they allow me to slot into the rhythms of the day, telling me what time it is without looking at my phone or watch. The church bells sort of form the background track to my day in Corfu. Ding, 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 it's time for breakfast. Or it's time to hit the hammock. Or maybe a little afternoon siesta. So I tell that niggling inner voice to shut up. This is my time to rest. This is my space to replenish. This is my opportunity, hard one, to recharge. Because I know that it's only when we are fully rested and recovered that we can create our best work and our best life. And that is what I want for myself, the very best. So now I will stop writing. The tapping of my computer will still. I will head down to the beautiful beach. It's very early, but I like having this small, perfect little beach to myself. I pack my beach towel, my sunscreen, my book, my sunglasses and hat, all in this bright beach bag that I bought in India. It's got the image of a Rajput princess on it, wearing a gorgeous peacock blue sari, her neck covered in gold necklaces, her oval-shaped nose ring framing her beautiful face. This bright, fiery Rajput princess on my beach bag looks amazing. She looks like she rules the world. She looks like she isn't worrying about finishing her to-do list or posting stuff on social media. This is who I will be today, this proud Rajput princess, except I'll be on a beach on a little Greek island. I channel her and I head down to the warm sea that's waiting for me. My day of rest and relaxation is calling me.
Besharam, Badtameez, Chi.
I'm Sangeeta Pillai and this is Masala Podcast Unfiltered, the same multi-award-winning podcast that you love, just a little bit different. I'm going to be chatting with you a whole lot more. I'm going to be more real with you, more raw, more vulnerable. I hope that makes you feel less alone in your own life journey. I'm going to give myself the space and the grace to be just me. I hope that gives you the space to be more you.